So I'd like to call to order this meeting of the Kearney Use Tax Committee, Wednesday, March 11th, 2026. Do we start with the Pledge of Allegiance? Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So, reports?
The first report is the fiscal year-to-date use tax revenue and expense statement. This is our revenues and expenses through the 11 months ended February 28th, 2026. So that is 11 months of the fiscal year, or 92%. As you can see, we are over where we expected to be, over budget in use tax and in interest, so revenue is all over budget. Our transfers, we transfer out just on a monthly schedule, so those are right at budget, of course. And that's the status year to date through February.
Well, that's encouraging that we're above and beyond. So Stephanie, real quick, on our year-to-date revenues, I see for February, 181,000. Is that, I mean, are we seeing like a smooth trend, or did we have some peaks throughout the year?
Use tax has been pretty steady, but
Okay.
it always goes up and down a little bit. Every month, obviously, it's not standard. December, obviously, people purchase online a lot, is usually a higher month, but for the most part, it stays has been staying fairly, but has continued to grow a little bit.
I was gonna say, I wasn't thinking about that. I was wondering more of, like with the construction projects in the summer and stuff like that, if we saw an uptick in the summer months, but that's a good point on the December purchases. So, okay.
School time and back to school and December.
Any questions?
I have a question. I don't know if you're gonna get to it on the agenda, I didn't see it here, the World Cup. I mean, do you anticipate there being more revenue with the tax? Because you're gonna have hotels, you're gonna have people staying.
We're actually anticipating, hopefully, more sales tax, but not necessarily use tax. Because use tax is for online sales and stuff like that. Possible, but sales tax will probably be more effective than use tax.
Okay.
We're hoping.
That was the only question I had.
How about our parks update?
Thank you. We've had one reimbursement received to date, and that was received in September. This is on a 50% reimbursement with LWCF. We sent in our expense reports, number 2, and we're expecting a reimbursement from them within a month to 2 months. We sent that in on February 19th, and we are expected to receive $23,596.91 on the cost share with the program. The projects we did, the Jesse James Park Web Climber and Merry-Go-Round, that was completed July 1st, just in time for our July 3rd celebration, which was nice. That was $55,010.93. Also, the new skate park equipment was installed at 2 new corner pieces, and we've had great feedback on those 2 new pieces at the skate park, and that was just a little over $43,000. We also purchased the movie projection system and screen for our movies in the park at Lions Park. Also, We had to do a new dechlorination system per DNR requirements, as the water is a flow-through system and not a recirculation system. And then the riprap portion of this will be carried over to the fiscal '27 budget. And that's about $4,000, something like that. So that'll get carried over. And then last year, we put the extra top coat of playground surfacing, and we paid that, even though that was done a year ago, we had them put it on an additional because we didn't like, I think I talked to you guys at the last meeting, there was a seam in it, and we did not like that seam. The company came out and looked at that as well and put a whole new top coat over the existing playground surfacing, and that was completed. The extra top coat was was at no charge. That project was $95,500 and some odd dollars. Also, the 3 new steel outer doors were completed at the Mac Porter Park bathroom and concession stand. And then looking forward to the fiscal year '27, we are about ready to go out for bid for Hall Park. We had some final comments from Lauren, our engineer, to Vireo. We think we've got everything pretty much lined out, and that will go out for bid in April. So we anticipate starting construction later on this year, which is a good thing. We're excited to get that project and start seeing some dirt turned and get that project rolling. The Mac Porter Park Access Road Culvert, that will be, that is actually out for bid. And that project is budgeted at $40,000. And also the Jesse James Park Entrance Culvert, that project, we anticipate being completed prior to the World Cup event. So, and that's also budgeted at $40,000. And then electrical upgrades, pedestals at the rodeo arena, the demo derby, and the amphitheater parking areas. That is anticipated at $42,000, and we have spoken with Jared Walters. He's the one that came out and did all the inspection and saw what we needed for the upgrades out there. I touched base with him again last week, and all of the items have been ordered. It's just whenever they'll get in and do the scheduling. But we told them we wanted the rodeo arena and demo derby areas done first because the World Cup coming in mid-June. So look for that to be done. And then we're trying to secure a Lions Club International grant, $150,000 from them. We've run into a couple of snags from what they have told us to now what they're saying that the Lions Club has to contribute. So we're trying to do a workaround on that and get in touch with Lions Club International. But they're saying now that the Lions Club, local clubs have to contribute $25,000. Well, what Lions Club has $25,000? So I at our conference down in Columbia, there's the Maryville group, which we know, they also applied for this grant and they were told $2,500. So that's why we're trying to get to the bottom of this. And I'm like, I showed her my email, what they're saying. I'm like, maybe they haven't got to your application yet, but that's what they're saying. And she's writing over that as well. She says, our club doesn't have $25,000 either. So I'll keep you abreast of that situation as we go forward. So.
Can I interrupt you for a minute?
Absolutely.
What is a workaround?
Well, they're saying, and I need to talk with our legal and Sheila as well, because they're saying we can donate, we can transfer funds to the Lions Club with an agreement that they donate that money back. But I don't understand, the Lions Club says we can do that. I don't know if it's legal to do that, because it's just Peter paying Paul and Paul paying Peter back, and then the project goes forward. So I don't know if that's all true and everything, and I will be getting with our attorney and Sheila on that to see if that's actually legal to do.
Sounds messy.
Sounds messy
I
and it
like
is
that
messy.
term.
So I have a meeting with the Lions Club, the first Thursday in April and giving them a status update. I've been in contact with Marion, but I got an email from the district, she did actually, and she forwarded it on saying that we in fact can do this. I don't know if it's legal for the city to do that, and that's why I will be getting with our city administrator and our attorney and seeing if that's legal to do. So we don't want to do anything that's by any means illegal.
Right.
So
What's the, if you don't mind me asking, what's the breakdown between, because I see here, we're talking about surface, I'm assuming similar to our Lions Park surface, but then sensory equipment.
yes,
Just trying to understand if we have to choose one versus the other to implement now and delay another one for the next fiscal year, what's the breakdown between, putting the surface down versus doing the equipment?
everything has to be, because it's a grant, everything has to be done at one time. So
Okay.
if we provide the, put the equipment in this year, because you would want the equipment in before the surfacing goes in.
So you don't have to rip back up.
Well, we wouldn't have to, right, so we wouldn't have to rip the surface up, but then next year, in case this doesn't go through, say for example, that's not feasible to do, we could still purchase the equipment, but then we would have to reapply for a grant next year and it would just be for the surfacing and it's not just surfacing, it's sidewalks that lead from the playground area to the shelters and also concrete sidewalk that would lead to the footbridge to make sure everything is ADA accessible, which is a great, we have the bid from the surfacing company that would also do that, but again, we don't know if that's the case to do.
Where I'm going with all this, I guess, is, again, the Lions Club International Grant, this process sounds very messy, so
Yes.
assuming we don't get that grant,
Right.
are we firm that it's going to cost $300,000 for all that work and equipment to be done? So in case, we say, okay, we can't go with the Lions Club International Grant, what's this cost us out of pocket if there's not a grant to do it?
$300,000.
300,000, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why I asked for 150 because that's what they told us at these meetings, apply for the 150,000 and then the 150,000 would be the match from the Lions Club to do the entire project that we wanted to have done, including the extra, I think it's 6 new pieces of equipment. We would take out 2 of the pieces, the teeter-totter and the frog spring rider that is out there, and put in new sensory equipment and another thing that's included in that in the equipment part is handicap swing, ADA handicap swing. So that's one of the pieces as well that would be installed.
Eric, are you familiar with AARP?
I am.
Are you familiar that they do make grants?
I will look at that,
That's yours to
absolutely.
keep.
Yep, okay.
But it's it's well-written. At least I, who's, don't understand how the parks work, but it's
Sure.
very detailed, and they do make grants. Maybe it'd be good for you to see that through and maybe apply and see how they can help us with the park.
I will do so. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I'm sorry.
And then I guess my question would be, so in terms of how these requested or these budgeted projects flow through
Right?
Hall Park, is that in the sidewalk and trails?
No, that
Or,
is.
I'm just trying to
that is a separate fund in the park budget under, it's on a Hall Park. It's a separate line item, Hall Park, that Sheila had done a couple of years ago when we first applied for the grant.
I was just trying to figure out, on our FY '27 budget sheet, in terms of the transfers out of the fund, where that,
Construction.
Yeah, park construction,
so I'm assuming we're not assuming the full 900,000 then? Because we're only showing 400,000 going to park construction.
yeah, that's the 17, that is a different fund than what the actual Hall Park fund is in my budget book. It's a different, different fund that has, is that correct?
It is, but in previous years, so use tax has already been transferred for that whole park.
So there's already a balance sitting over there?
Yeah.
So this 400,000 just makes that whole then? Is that what we're saying?
The 400,000
Mhm.
includes the,
But there's already
Other
other
projects,
funds that get us, I'm just saying, we've got one number for 900,000 and then when we look at the budget, which I know we'll get there, but when we look at the budget, we only show 400,000 coming from this year, so I wanted to make sure, yeah.
yes,
Okay.
previous years, all of that money was transferred over in preparation for that.
Okay,
Thank you.
do we have any other questions on the 27 budgeted projects? The one last question that I have, Eric, is just how are the projects identified and selected? Like, I understand some of these are definitely out of necessity, but, you know, like the playground resurfacing, stuff like that. Just wondering what the process is for how we identify which projects are coming next and put on this.
Ryan and I, throughout the year, on our park capital improvement, that's been on the agenda for, that we've had earmarked for a long time, but of course, funding before we even had the use tax. I think Marie was on the Board of Aldermen, and before that, the Park Board, when we would have to get playground mulch, and even though it's quote ADA compliant, it's just not a good thing, and some of the pieces out there of the playground, now the big mega tower and swing sets, they're in great, I mean, absolutely great shape. They don't even show any wear. Last year, we did the web climber because that had done its useful tenure of time. And then we just go and say, hey, we would like to update this to make it all handicap accessible. I know the mayor has been contacted by a few groups of making sure that the parks are able to be used by all walks of life. And one of those projects were ADA accessible equipment. So we thought what better time to do that if we could get this grant to do that to serve all walks of life. The other things, some of the infrastructure in the park, such as the electrical, has started to show its wear, and we've had some problems with that. And we want to upgrade the RV parking lot area as well for the barbecue cook-offs and things of that nature. And some of the things that were done in the park really need some upgrades. Same example would be like we identified the electrical upgrades, not only to the rodeo arena, but to the demo derby arena as well.
Yeah. And then I guess my last question would be, one, I don't know where it falls necessarily. It might be in sidewalk trails,
Right.
crossing. The walking trail that we have around the south edge of town,
Yep.
especially with all the development that's gone on around the
Right.
Greenfield area.
Right.
That, like, it's almost like a super highway now, I feel like, in terms of people.
It is.
Just wondering is that up for consideration as well in terms of upcoming projects and stuff? Because I know there's some pretty rough parts of it now.
We will discuss that here
Perfect.
in a bit.
Awesome. Sorry, not trying to jump ahead, so.
No worries.
Question there, Eric, you mentioned ADA. I'm curious. It made me think, you know, when you update a building, if it isn't ADA compliant, you have to make it compliant when you remodel. Do you have to do that with parks? When you do any kind of upgrade or replace equipment, do you have to make it ADA compliant then?
Not all pieces have to be ADA compliant, but there should be pieces in the whole project that are ADA, and especially the surfacing, getting to and from a parking lot to the park area. And the park, we had the footbridges that are ADA compliant, and then it goes right to grass, and it's not on a steep slope. But we feel that was one of the main things when we started doing this project. We need to make it more accessible and easier, and to all locations. So they could go from the playground to a shelter, or from parking lot to playground to shelter to playground to the other shelter, and then also to exit the park on both ends.
Okay.
Any other questions? No? Pathways project update.
Thank you. I am Shelley Daniel, Public Works Director here at the city. I went ahead and printed you guys out like a pathways map because I think it kind of helps you all when I start talking about projects. So first, I'm going to go ahead and talk about the Route 33 trail. That's how it's listed in the budget, but we all know it as the Mac Porter Park Connector Trail. And on the map, that's project D and K. So this week, our tree and forestry clearing began inside the park to create a path from Route 33 to the existing trail. This work had to occur by April 1st due to potential bat habitats in the trees. So if you were to drive up there now, you could see a path from Route 33, like you could tell where the path was gonna go. And so we did that with a separate contractor because if we missed the April 1st date that puts the project, we couldn't do anything, clear trees till next November. So it was good to get the trees gone. So that wasn't a holdup. So the trail project is currently still in the right-of-way acquisition phase. We have one remaining temporary construction easement to obtain, and the city has extended a formal offer to the property owner. We're hoping that we will be able to acquire that, but if they were to fail, our only remaining option would be to pursue that through eminent domain. So our design plans are substantially completed, and our consultant is preparing our bid documents and our final engineer's estimate. And once those are finished, we'll be able to go ahead and send those over to MoDOT to get their approval, since part of the trail is on their right-of-way, but also because they are the regulatory agency that oversees the federal funds. Our federal funding for this project is available this federal fiscal year. So our project must be ready for federal obligation by the end of August to remain on schedule. And our goal is still to have the project ready to bid this year, and at this time, we feel the project remains on schedule for that. So next, I'll provide update on some of the other pathways projects. I'll start with our Route 33, Route 92 on Regency Drive. We call it our TAP project. So on the map, that's project C, F, and I. So this project is in the early design phase. Since we last met, the city has contracted with Olson to do the design work for the project. And they've already started surveying. So like many of the residents who live along those routes, have called in and were curious about the survey state. So we have started that work. So currently our construction is anticipated in 2028, and the progress is still in a very early design phase. Next, I'm going to talk about projects E, G, H, and N, and they're all highlighted in blue. And these projects were completed since we last met by McConnell, and all those routes are now open to the public. Next, I'm going to talk about Project M, which we call the Lions Park Crossing. So the Lions Park Crossing will be constructed now as part of a MoDOT Route 33 resurfacing project that's planned this year. We were going to do that project on our own. We got high bids. They were rejected by the board, but then we found out MoDOT was going to come in and mill and fill the asphalt from Liberty all the way up the Hole. So it really makes sense to coordinate with them before we go and do all our work, and they just ground up the striping. So we, like our board agreed to go into agreement with MoDOT, and we submitted the design and the funding needed for the work. And MoDOT has agreed to maintain the improvements, which is also something that was new since we last met. So our city crews have already completed the preparatory work we had to do for the crossing. We removed part of the the wall just south of Old Church Plaza with our street crews. And so that's about, if you were out there, you see where we have straw, mulch, that's where the crossing will go, across 33. So MoDOT has not scheduled the work yet with us, but their contract is with iDecker Construction, and their contractor is to be completed with their entire resurfacing job by November, and that is included in their contract. But once we do get the schedule, the city will share updates through our normal media channels like we use Facebook and Instagram. And at this time, we don't anticipate any issues affecting that timeline. So the next project I want to talk about is Project L. And Project L is just a desire to improve pedestrian crossings for 19th Street. So to do that, we have secured a grant that is not it's trail related. It's like a roadway improvement project on 19th Street, and it's called the 19th Complete Street Project. And we'll be adding sidewalks and trail sections along 19th Street that are missing in between Watson Drive and Meadow Lane Street. And Meadow Lane Street is the road that's across from the ball fields that goes in the White Gates. The project will also enhance the intersection of 19th Street and Route 33 by adding pedestrian crossings in all 4 directions at the traffic signal, creating safer crossings for all users. The existing trail crossing near the pickleball courts at Stone Lake Drive will be enhanced with a flashing beacon, and it'll also include ADA improvements on the south side. We've already done them on the north side when we did the Stone Lake improvements. The pedestrian crossing at Meadow Lane Street will be removed, and users will instead be directed to use the new sidewalk connecting the Route 33 signal from Meadow Lane or the crossing near the pickleball courts, which are both in real close proximity of Meadow Lane Street. Additionally, the trail crossing near the railroad tracks will be relocated to the west, outside the area of influence of the railroad. This is to improve safety, and it's also a recommendation from the railroad for us to do the improvements on their right-of-way. Once we pick a location for that crossing, it will be designed and will include enhancements such as the rapid flashing beacon. This project is not funded with use tax, but the enhanced crossing on 19th Street are included on this map, and that's why I'm providing an update on that. Next on the list, project list, is our downtown streetscape project, which is also known as our Connected Kearney Plan. The Connected Kearney Plan study has been underway since last April and is expected to wrap up this May. Our final open house was held in November, where a citywide connectivity plan was shared with the public, and we got feedback from, and it seemed very well received. Our consultant GBA is now just drafting the final study report and preparing the presentation for our board of aldermen to consider. And that study is on track to be completed this spring and is being led by Mark, which is our regional planning partner. And then finally, I'm going to give an update on trail reconstruction, which is in the sidewalk budget. And I'm going to turn this on over to Eric because he's going to give an update on some trail maintenance work he's planning.
Thanks. As Shelley mentioned earlier, one of the contractors was McConnell and Associates, and McConnell and Associates was the contractor that did the pickleball complex. And as part of our capital improvement plan, identifying problem areas on the trail, we do know that there are problem areas on Fishing River Trail. And we've identified some of these areas that we want to have removed and new asphalt installed. Ryan and I went out there and marked the problem areas that we have, and actually it's more than the funding we presently have, but we are going to meet with McConnell. Monday morning, I met with them down at our conference in Columbia a couple of weeks ago at the NPRA conference. And we set up a meeting for Monday. They are coming out to drive the trail with us, identify the locations. And we do have it within the budget of what we think the problem areas, the main problem areas that we want to have them come out and do that. Right now, it's about 500 square yards at $90 a square yard, and that includes all labor and everything, labor and materials. And we want to identify different sections each and every year to keep up with the growing cracks. You know, if there's big, we've noticed that there's some big drop-offs and ridges on the Fishing River Trail, and we're going to identify those items first to get that taken care of first and foremost. And then each year, do extra areas that we think need to be done.
I've got a few questions if that's all right. So do we have, by chance, like costs, like our budgets and our year-to-date costs for these different projects? I know we've had those in past meetings, agendas and stuff like that. I didn't know, because, you know, specifically, Eric, you've talked about what we have in budget for the trail reconstruction. What is that budget?
45.
45,000? Okay. And then, yeah, because I mean, I'm curious to know what some of these are gonna cost, because the other one too would be the Lions Park crossing. So you said MoDOT is going to handle it and we're gonna work in partnership with them, but do we know what the cost is gonna be for us? Because I know when we had originally gotten the update about the bids and stuff, I think it was pretty ridiculously high. So I didn't know where the cost for that's gonna come in at.
So at the last meeting, I did a really detailed presentation of each project and had all the costs broke out. They have not changed a lot since the last meeting, so I just didn't focus as much except on the progress. But my goal is like annually to do a little more detail, and I think there will be a lot more progress on the projects than over the last 6 months. There just wasn't a lot of advancement. I think like this from memory, it's about $80,000 for the Lions Park crossing. We did a cost apportionment agreement with MoDOT, and the board approved that. And it was around, our estimate originally was around 72, and I think their bids came in about $80,000 for construction.
What was it for the contractors? Wasn't it it was in the hundreds, wasn't it, for us to, when we initially went out trying to do it without MoDOT, when we tried to do it ourselves?
Well, it was a different project too. We tried to do, like the projects I got completed last year with McConnell and the Lions Park crossing and some of the 19th Street and the Meadow Brook Drive. It was all of them together.
Okay.
I think we only received one bidder and it was substantially over budget. I can't remember the exact number, but the way we've broken it out, it's actually been a lot more cost efficient.
Okay. And then my last question that I have is just on the Route 33 trail project, you mentioned that we have one easement left to go. And, you know, if that landowner doesn't accept the proposal, whereabouts is this like easement, like smack dab in the middle of that? Or is it just something where we would have to potentially not be able to get the connection fully down to like the sidewalk or something? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's like right in the middle.
It's right in the middle? Okay.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be acquired
Gotcha.
to build the trail.
Okay.
What do you think our odds are, in as much as, are they a homeowner that's been there forever, when it used to be just fields, or do you have any feeling either way? What our
Yeah, it's a good.
resident would say?
Do we have a sense of like
Yeah,
if
how do you
we're gonna
think
be
they can feel?
successful in acquiring it, or?
I think we're closer than we were a month ago, but
Okay.
I still don't have a signed easement, so.
And they haven't given you any idea, in as much as, is it because of what we're offering them?
We give them a 30-day offer, and they're still within the 30 days to get back with me.
And then what happens after that 30 days?
Well, then, if we're unable to negotiate at that point, we have to make a decision, and I think we would have to go to condemn the property for temporary easement.
Okay.
So hopefully, we'll be able to acquire the easement.
And they know this,
Yes,
that if they don't accept the offer, that,
yes.
okay.
Well, they got all the information.
Yes, right, I gotta say, it would help you make your decision. We'd rather have it give you something for it rather than it be condemned.
Yeah, that's pretty standard on all federal projects.
Right,
So
that,
even on 19th Street, when we start that, there's multiple, and then along Regency, everybody will, it's just the process.
mhm.
Yeah.
But if you give them everything in writing and they understand, you know, what their options are. Yeah. Well, let's hope they take the offer.
And then last question for me would be, I think I just said last question, but the 19th Street crosswalks, says we're in the design phase. Apologies, I wasn't at the last meeting. I watched the recap, but when do we project that to be done? The only reason I say this, because obviously we've had some headlines about the crossing itself, so.
So, you're asking about the 19th Complete Street project?
Yeah, the 19th Street crosswalks, Project L.
Yeah, so the 19th Complete Street project is in design phase right now, so we're working to get our environmental clearance.
Okay.
So I really do hope to have that. Like I got an update today from MoDOT, and there's still several agencies that have to get signed off on. But say we get that in the next couple of months, and then we're gonna roll into the right-of-way acquisition phase. That generally takes about a year. So our goal is to be under construction in 2028, because that's when the federal funds are available. And we like to be in construction when the funds are available, so we don't ask for them to be moved, because it's the goal of the region to keep projects on schedule.
That's for the entire 19th Street corridor or just these?
No, it's for the entire corridor. These just happen to be in the project. It's a much bigger project than these crossings.
Yeah, my biggest point of concern is we did have an individual get hit on one of these crossings. So that's my sense of urgency of trying to get them pushed forward, even if it means having to do something outside of the scope of the project. That's why I was asking, so.
So right now, the crossings will be done when the project is there, right?
The crossings will be enhanced through it. They just won't necessarily be at the exact same locations where they are now.
Okay.
Because the
In
biggest
2000.
problem with that is right now at 19th and 33, there's only 2 arms where pedestrians could cross. So it's not a complete intersection for the trail and the sidewalks. And so if we are gonna have a sidewalk that continues all the way up, and so in the future, you'll be able to cross all directions. So you don't have to cross one way and wait. You could just, if you're walking across the trail, you could just keep going on the south side. You don't have to cross north, cross south to go back north. And so that will be the biggest improvement for that intersection.
Yeah, I think my main focus, again, was on the ones that are further east, as you pass Hawthorne and stuff, and you go down there towards White Gates, those crossings for sure. I know we have the speed sensor out there now, but yeah, just in terms of trying to get those enhanced and
So the pickleball court would be the only one that
Yeah.
would make sense, since the metal lane will not be located at that location.
Okay.
And it would just be the addition of a flasher at that location.
You said the one east of, because the crosswalk east of the railroad tracks.
So the one that east of the railroad tracks are right in at the stop bar location for the railroad crossing. So that's a problem for the railroad.
Yeah.
And so we're gonna move that to the west. And so there's just gonna be space. I'm just not sure, we have traffic engineers trying to figure out a location. We have to put it at a location that has good sight distance. So if you were to cross, cars aren't popping over the hill and there's a pedestrian.
as I would say, that would be my biggest concern with going further west is you get to the hill of 19th Street and that's just like pulling out in a car is,
Yeah, so it probably
Crazy
won't be at
enough.
Regency, it'll probably be at the next signal, the next street is my guess, from memory, because it has the best sight distance for pedestrians and cars.
so right at the top of the hill then.
That would be the best place for people to see. They just haven't, I don't have it on plans yet, but that's where I think they're proposing it.
Okay.
I have an unrelated question, but still about the pathways and the crosswalks and all. So are we still identifying like sidewalk areas where we are lacking in them? Or is that done?
So during the Connected Kearney plan, there was a public survey and it was open for like
Yeah.
many months. And a lot of people identified other areas where gaps exist.
Okay, that's what I was asking about, yeah, because people have been asking me and I said, well, I don't actually know if this is gonna continue or if this is kind of like, once these projects are done, it's done.
Well, once these are done, the commitment to the voters of what we said we would build, or we built. And so then for more pathways is competing with parks, pets, and police. You know, so it's like a balance on where to spend the money.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Moving on, I think we're at the budget.
I'll read this one, I guess. The budget for 27 was adopted by the board on February 19th, I believe. And so these are the amounts. You can see for revenue, we budgeted to receive next year conservatively. We almost received that much in 11 months of this fiscal year, so pretty conservative on the revenue side for to be safe. And then on the expenditure side, I will turn it over to the various people here. Eric has kind of already talked about what is in his budget or what he's planning on doing next year, and you can see that the money that is being transferred for those park-related projects. But sidewalks and trails, I don't know if you want to speak to that, Shelley, the amount that was.
So most of the projects in the sidewalks and trails are multi-year projects. So right now, I think we have the funding, already identified. And if, based on our preliminary estimate on the pathways, the bigger the project, like next year I'll be further along in design. And then if I needed additional funds, I would put in a request. But we're looking at ways to we call it practical design, like we're not trying to go the most expensive way. So we just started, and our original estimates and budget were very conservative. So as we get further in design, we're able to refine those. The costs are going up, like in the economy, so.
Eric, do you have anything more to say about that?
I don't have anything else to add.
Public safety, just to give you a general breakdown, but Brian Allen is here to help you if you have any questions. 2 officers, as you know, are supported by the use tax funds. Also budgeted in that amount, they budgeted $247.5 thousand for new radios for the police department. They were having trouble getting communication from inside of buildings, particularly schools. And so it became really apparent as people started investigating that they needed a new system. And so radios were budgeted to be replaced. There's $27.4 thousand of computer equipment and $110,000 for tasers for the police department.
Tasers.
New tasers. Do you have anything to add?
No, that's pretty accurate. I mean, the radio is probably the most important thing.
I can't hear you.
The radios is probably our most important thing that we have solved. Prior to getting this budget approved for the radios, our portables could not make it out of the schools when it comes to reception. We've now solved that problem. We've, with the purchase of the radios, we're able to get out in any building in the city of Kearney, so we should have no more problems going forward. Radio reception.
So what happens to the old radios? I'm a big believer, as some of you who know me, recycle? How do we reuse those?
Yeah, so the old radios, our plan is to, sell them back to the company that we bought them from, I believe. And as far as what we do with that money, I'm not sure where that money will go. I don't know if you'd be able to.
It goes in a general fund.
General fund.
So general fund purchased those radios initially. So when you surplus, the money goes back to whatever fund
Okay,
owned the property.
Is there a specific reason why we funded the radios, the tasers, the computer equipment through the use tax dollars? And is there a reasoning behind that, or I'm trying to understand?
Yes. So this was a really challenging budget year. Our sales tax revenue is down. And there were also, the board is, there's a ongoing litigation that is culminating to the end. But the Board of Aldermen needed to put money aside for a possible judgment due to a stormwater lawsuit. And so all of that affected the general fund, where there were critical safety needs for police officers but not general fund revenues, which typically supports public, like police, except for those two officers. And so in looking for sources to make sure that our officers had the tools that they needed for the radios and the tasers and these computer upgrades, the board said, well, the voters approved use tax to be for parks, pets, police, and pathways. And so it was just a source that was available because there were not other options, and there were very necessary equipment upgrades that were needed.
Okay.
Ready to move on to the next category? The next category is animal control, which is a new one for use tax. The amount budgeted is $50,000 for a new dog kennel and $8,500 to fund animal housing. And David can probably answer any questions that you have.
Yeah, there's a jump in the budget, a chunk, and the idea is to make some improvements at the kennel. Right now, we have outdoor runs, not very popular, have dog houses. When the weather's bad, we utilize a local vet for overnight. And if it's stormy or if it's too cold or too hot, there's some criteria that we have to follow. 89% of the dogs that we go out are returned home within 24 hours. So it's not a shelter project, it's a kennel project. So we want to be able to have a facility where dogs can go inside and outside, where we don't have to depend on the veterinarian to house them or board them when the weather's bad. So we have a small building with 3 or 4 runs in it, and so we think we can try and get that accomplished with $50,000. It'd be a nice improvement.
Do you have any idea of what the ongoing run costs and maintenance on that addition would be by chance? Or?
We think it'd be not much more than we already have. So
Okay.
Imagine, I almost call it like a shed structure, a square building, have kennels, fenced-in kennels, and there'd be a door, gate that they can go in and out during the day. Kathy's our animal control person. She would check on the kennels every day, and it's down at the Public Works facility, so it wouldn't add too much to our everyday activities down there.
2 questions. Where is this located?
Down at the Public Works facility. So
Okay.
right now, you know where the salt barn is, and
Yes.
Public Works, the kennels are down there today. We would build at the same spot or across the parking lot at Public Works.
And how many can it house at one time?
3 or 4
Okay,
would be the plan. We don't collect many, so this past year, we have picked up 62 dogs over 12 months, so that's 6 a month.
That sounds like a
55
lot.
of those return within 24 hours, so we don't have them very long.
Okay, so
We generally know
the
who they
owner's
are.
looking for their pet.
Right, owner's looking for their pet.
Is that something that we put on our water bill, you know, to give homeowners that direction? If you have a pet that's gotten out and we don't know where they're at, the first option would be to contact
Yeah, I don't know
animal
if it's
control?
been sent out on water bills, but social media is pretty powerful.
Is it?
It's on
Okay.
Kearney Chaos.
Yeah.
Thank you, Larry.
I'm assuming there's a link on the Kearney site, on the Kearney webpage as well.
And if the dog happens to get, we've gotten a lot more dogs that, you know, we require licenses and we've had for a long time.
Yes.
The word is out and people understand, oh, I need to have dog license. So we've gotten a lot more dog licenses the last couple of years and that gives us a better chance of finding the owner if, you know, if they come with a tag on it.
Does that revenue go back to this
What
from the
revenue?
dog
Oh,
license?
It's $10 a dog.
Okay.
So we don't
Is that
collect
$10
very
forever
much.
or a year?
Per year.
Per year?
Yeah, per
Okay.
year. Yeah, $10 for an altered dog, $20 for an unaltered dog if it's not fixed.
We thought about increasing that?
We have not. The $20 for unaltered is an increase.
Okay.
All the cities around us generally are $10 for an animal, so we're
Okay.
in line with everybody else.
Okay.
Yeah, the idea is, I think our goal is more to have the dog's licensed
Sure.
than to make money off of the
Sure.
license.
I'm just looking for revenue
Mm-hmm.
to help you.
Mhm.
Okay.
And then obviously debt service for the pickleball. Pickleball is the last category that's budgeted. So I don't know if anybody has any other questions?
Nope.
I just threw a couple of, maybe not the right word, proposed a couple of dates. I know there hasn't been a really set schedule of meetings, and so I thought it would be a good idea to just go ahead and determine, we can do them biannually and do them in June and March. Those are good times for you guys to get good ideas on fiscal, like year-end numbers, budget numbers. But again, just proposed, just a thought. Don't know if you guys have different preferences, that's fine. I just wanted to try to get something out there. So,
I don't feel it either way, as long as I get advance notice, I'm okay.
okay, well, then we'll put those on the calendar and we'll go from there. June obviously is not too far away, so, if you guys determine that you would like to do something different in the meantime, we can talk about it in June. Committee member comments is the next.
I have one, naturally. Again, I go back to the water bill since I noticed that you do let residents know what's going on. Why don't we educate them in as much as the use tax? Where does that money come from? So that would increase their online, so that the city would get more income, I'm gonna call it.
Use tax?
Yes, I mean, letting them know by using it online that benefits their city. And in turn, the city is working all these projects that are using the use tax.
Well, the use tax is just the secondary culvert to capture what's not captured in sales tax.
Right.
So it's, yeah,
But I think the consumer understands use tax and sales tax is the same. You know, when I go and shop in Kearney, I think it's benefiting Kearney, which is true, it does. But the use tax is, how should I say, just for these projects that we use the money here. And people want to know, how are you using my money when I go out and purchase something? I think it's beneficial that they understand how the money is used at the city. And I don't think we give them enough education as to how their money is used when they go get gas, or they buy groceries, or they shop online. I don't think we all understand how that all works. The commerce, the money, how it ends up, how the city decides how they're gonna spend it. So I think it doesn't hurt to remind them the difference between a sales tax and use tax.
We are revamping our website, so that's probably a good topic.
And you do have a newsletter now too, right?
We do have a news.
So that'd be another place that you could also put it out there. Also remind me, and I know, I think it was on the water bill recently about the newsletter. That's something that you
Yeah.
need to sign up for, that you can get the newsletter.
Yeah, our blurb on the back of water bills has obviously got to be very
Right.
short. So we're super limited, besides directing people to a page on our website or something like that. We would have to be very brief, probably couldn't go
Right.
into a whole lot on a water bill, but definitely those other avenues are good educational tools.
And it might be just a blurb to tell them that, go to the city website.
New information on use tax or whatever.
Right,
Whatever.
exactly. That's all I have.
Good.
Anybody else?
Mary Kate?
I'm good.
Good.
That said, I think, with those dates being good on the calendar, Mary, thank you for your comments. Without that, adjourn the meeting.
Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, everybody.